You've just finished your role as CEO of a global bank. What do you do next? You've got the speaking circuit, your choice of advisory roles, and plenty of time left over for golf. But today's guest decided to screw all of that and become a fintech founder on a mission to make banking 10 times better.
Yes, I'm perhaps a little bit unusual in this regard in that I've essentially had two careers in my life. The first career, over 30 years working in the banking industry in various parts of the world and various parts of the industry, culminating with being the group CEO of one of the largest banks in the world, Barclays. So that was career one. Career two has been as a founder and entrepreneur in the fintech and technology business.
What do you see as now the kind of bright future for fintech?
Extremely confident in what we can do. I mean, we're talking to a sort of medium-sized bank and we'll be able to re-platform them entirely in about 18 months, which is unheard of. So, and I think there's a number of areas across the fintech space where that sort of traction is starting to happen. And as I say, we're in the second wave now. So when that scaling starts to bite, we'll see some real impact. One of my takeaways from this line of work is, everything takes longer, is more difficult and costs more than you think it's going to. But as we come into our sort of ninth year, what I feel really good about is what we've built and how we're positioned. And what this means is we can now start to deploy this technology in a way that will truly solve the problem we set out to solve. And I think there's a number of businesses in the fintech space globally that are in that category.
How did you make the transition from being group CEO of one of the biggest banks in the world?
After I got through the phase of just sort of thinking through the problem, then it was, well, what do we do about it? And that was really assembling a small team of people who could assist in what I was doing. Now, I was fortunate in that I could provide the seed funding for the business from my own resources, and I put the first £1 million of capital into the company myself. So, that's putting your money where your mouth is, right? And that was important because it allowed us to get started. And what we found with high performance is, your productivity skyrockets, right? And therefore you can deliver a much higher quality, greater content of work with the same or less resource as you get into that notion of high performance. Yeah. And I'll be very honest with you, there have been times in 10x when we haven't achieved that progression towards high performance as quickly as I wanted to. And that is incredibly frustrating for me because that's what I want to build and architect.